Take care. All right, Chris, now we're going to, not that that wasn't fun, but we're going to have some real fun now because it is 12 a.m. here, Eastern Standard Time, and we are going to jump into a topic right now that needs to be addressed, needs to be discussed. We have on the line our good friend Pinko the Bear, WWP member, host or former host of the Pinko the Bear show. I'm not sure if he's still doing that. We also have Aaron Alvarez on. He's an anarchist, an IWW member. And we have the man that we heard at the beginning of the show, John Carico. He's a journalist and media organizer for the IWW. He's a guy that's been battling these Nazis in the street, a guy with a tremendous amount of courage, probably more courage than I have, I'll tell you. Folks, welcome to Carson's Corner, each and every one of you guys. How are you?
What's up, my friends?
Hey, guys.
How are you?
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, so this is Pinko, by the way, just for those listening who don't know my voice. I am not doing my show anymore because I'm been a little busy, getting more busy in the streets, as you might know, until I had my heart attack, and now I'm trying to get better so I can, get back in the streets. But anyway, hi, everybody.
Hello, guys. My name is Chris. I'm co-host here on Carson's Corner with Bob. I'm hoping we can get right into the meat of the matter and mention the pink elephant in the room, and his name is Chris Hedges.
Fuck Chris Hedges.
Somebody should explain who the hell Chris Hedges is.
I
know him personally, and I could probably tell a few things about him, although I don't know him all that well. I worked with him during the Nader campaign in 2008. He's kind of a left-leaning liberal who puts on airs of being a Marxist and often steps in doo-doo because of it. But anyway, what was it specifically that got everybody pissed off about something that Chris Hedges said recently?
I just want to say that. Let me just try this real quick, and then I won't. I'm going to be quiet for a while because I want to definitely hear Aaron and John more than myself. But let me at least start with this piece. So years ago, when I discovered Chris, like a lot of people, I thought he was awesome. He was giving me a critique of the United States government and the way capitalism works and the way government works and the way wars go down, kind of like along the same line as Noam Chomsky. And these are two guys that I looked up to, I read, I listened to, I shared their articles, I discussed with them. But over the years, as I got more radicalized, as I became less of a liberal, and to the point where I'm no longer a liberal, and I'm just a straight up communist, anti-capitalist, anti-imperialist. I see them in a totally different light now, and I see them as a real problem on the revolutionary left, in that they are not, in fact, revolutionary. So that's my opening statement, and I'll throw it to the rest of you.
Yeah.
Pinko dropped, but he'll call back. Yeah, John.
Hey.
God, I'm sorry.
Oh, it's all good. My name is John Carico. I'm a journalist for Fifth Column. I'm with a bunch of different organizations. I've been doing community organizing for about 7 years now. Especially doxing. In the last 4 years, I've been doxing hate groups. Hello?
Yeah, and this article was particularly frustrating for me because Hedges wants to have it 5 different ways here. He wants to say, on the one hand, he's not equivocating Antifa with white nationalists, but he says that both of these groups have a lust for violence. Now, and he also points out that since 2006, between 2006 and 2016, there have been 49 homicides in 26 different attacks by these white supremacists out there, by, you know, the whatever you want to call them, the Tea Party sympathizers, alt right, whatever. We don't have that with Antifa. There's no equivalent. So he contradicts himself many times in this article. He equates them both, and you know, it wasn't Antifa that was responsible for the death of that young lady there in Virginia. It wasn't Antifa that's responsible for, you know, all the carnage. They don't bring guns to town hall meetings, guns to political rallies like we see from, you know, many of these different white nationalists and you know, sovereign citizen groups. So that's what was so frustrating to me, is that he's equivocating both groups. And Aaron, I do agree with what you say, is that these groups are being criminalized now. We're, you know, anybody with our political persuasion here is being criminalized and being marginalized because of people like Chris Hedges, I would argue.
Yeah,
man.
How do I?
Go ahead, John.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's very disappointing to me to hear people like Chomsky and Hedges say these things. I do appreciate some of their commentary. Actually, Noam Chomsky is one of the people who got me into anarcho-syndicalism, got me interested in activism a lot more than I was. And so it's very disappointing. I actually interviewed Noam Chomsky. It's extremely frustrating because I've been on the ground. I know how dangerous these people are. We already live under fascism. I mean, we already have a government and corporate collusion to establish national identity. We already have more people in prison right now than were in gulags in the Soviet Union. We already have more people, black people in prison right now than were enslaved during the slavery era. We already have more people shot by police, people of color shot by police every year than we have recorded, at least, lynched during the height of Jim Crow era. I mean, we already live under fascism, and as long as people continue to say that we can't defend ourselves against these street gangs that are, you know, in touch with the Golden Dawn, in touch with, you know, all these huge groups all over the country. They got Bill Richardson from the, you know, back in the day. They already had him in legislation. They have all of these billionaires on their American Renaissance staff. I mean, the people don't realize how dark and dangerous this is, and until they actually go out and talk to people like Daryl Lamont Jenkins from One People's Project, and they go and see how dangerous these people are, then I think that they're going to be continually counter-revolutionary towards the cause of actually bringing liberation to the United States of America, liberation to the world. And because until the United States of America is liberated, the rest of the world isn't going to have a chance, because the United States is the one, you know, enslaving the rest of us. I mean, I really, you know, I came out to American Renaissance the last 4 years. And, you know, what I would do is I would go inside and I would try to undermine their ideology. I would try to come in and say, you know, Irish people, you should not be considered white. Italian people, you should not be considered white. But you know, maybe it's resource distribution and power dynamics, not ethnicity, that causes people to form black market protection because they're not allowed in the mainstream market. Now that seems like the reason why gangs are formed, not because of some sort of ethnicity issue. Now, you know what the guy said to me back whenever I said that to him? He said, well, we got rid of the Irish problem, and all of his friends looked at him all weird, right? But I was very happy for that to happen, because that caused division. Now, do I think now, as things increase, and I started to become aware more and more that these guys are getting power, and it's not just going to be like hidden under the rug, but they're peeking their head out and saying, "Can we say this out loud? Can we say this out loud?" And the answer is yes, they can. And so right now, people are giving them power by even trying to equate us with them, because what I did and what I've seen a lot of people do. Now, I'm not going to throw anybody on the bus for doing it other than what I'm about to say. However, what we have in our groups talked about a lot of times in any group I've ever been involved with is wait for them, because they have a violent ideology. They have an ideology where they hate and they believe in conquering. They believe in these things. The Republicans deny it. The Democrats say they're going to do something about it. These fascists, They believe in the genocide of Native Americans. They believe in the continual ethnic cleansing of people of color. They believe in what we did in Iraq, the genocide of 8 million Iraqi people. They believe in that. They believe that's right, and they believe it, and they want to do it. Now, so, therefore, do I believe that somebody who goes and stops somebody who's planning ethnic cleansing by any means necessary is ethically wrong? No, but tactically, sometimes it's best to use optics, right, to get people around. Now, public opinion doesn't win wars. Public opinion doesn't win revolutions. Public opinion doesn't do that. Well, that requires regaining the control of the infrastructure, the resources, and the labor by the people. But public opinion can help sway. And when people like Chris Hedges and people like Noam Chomsky say things like this, who are so, I mean, for people like me who loved Noam Chomsky, like, I mean, I was, you know, I mean, like, I mean, I love that guy, you know. For him to say that, I mean, it was just a huge disappointment. And the fact that he doesn't have the, I mean, he friggin' supported the Khmer Rouge. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't, you know, like, I don't see where his line is that we're going to, the DACA. I mean, like, you got to understand, the guys are repealing DACA. In 6 months, we can have people, 27,000 people being pulled out of their house by federal ICE agents and freaking and paramilitary troops. This could be happening in 6 months from now. Like, we've got to understand that, and we've got to realize that we need a strategy to be able to defend ourselves. And until we get that strategy, we are going to be slaughtered in our ethical attempts to pacifism. Because I believe in nonviolence to a certain extent. I believe it can be a great tactic. However, nonviolence at all costs, I'm not willing to pay that cost. You know, and,
exactly.
And so,
hey,
I went to the American Renaissance.
Am I here, guys? Are you guys hearing me? Am I back in the...
You're loud and clear. You're loud and clear.
And I am loud and clear. I am so sorry about that problem. I don't know what that was about. But,
so weird.
so I really apologize for that. But you guys can hear me okay?
Yeah,
perfectly.
Excellent.
Like
Okay, so... Okay, so I would definitely go off of what John was saying about the importance of public opinion, and I think that's especially like in Hedges' recent response, him talking about how important is, you know, this hearts and minds concept, and that is important. Hearts and minds is incredibly important. If we're going to what me and my comrades want to do, which is overthrow capitalism completely, we need the hearts and minds of the masses to do that. And no, Black Bloc and Antifa is not the singular tactic that's going to win them over. In fact, it scares most people. But I don't know if John mentioned it because I was disconnected and I'm just checking in now, but I know, but the importance of diversity of tactics. My tactic in how I want to go about and fomenting a proper revolution is not to put on a mask and partake in what Antifa does. That's never been my way. I have my own strength and my own personal strength that I work on, right? But I'm not ready to, and I'm not comfortable with, personally, with some of the tactics that a Black Bloc employs, which I don't know if we need to, you know, stress the importance of a difference between Black Bloc and what Antifa is, where Antifa is sort of an ideology and Black Bloc is a tactic. Neither is a group, right?
Yeah.
So this is an ideology that might employ this Black Bloc tactic. And then there's other things within the Black Bloc umbrella of tactics that you might use. One of them results in punching Nazis in the head. Okay, this happens. Seen it. John's seen it. Abear's seen it. I've seen it, and it happens. Okay, and that's violence. But is it, so for Hedges and Chomsky to equate it to anything on the alt-right, which is, a long history of consistent murder and just consistent physical abuse. But again, we have to combat that in different ways. And one of them is Black Bloc. For these people who associate with being Black Bloc, that's the best tactic they know how to use. And they're not including me in the decision-making, so who am I really to discount them? And I think another thing that's really, really important, and then I'll stop and let someone else go, is that I think the vast majority of society has really no idea what Antifa or Black Bloc or any of that is. Us in our very far-left bubbles have a pretty good idea, but if you haven't really been out there marching with them, you just have no idea. You have no idea, and that is a problem from Antifa. So I think what we need to do is maybe push off of what Hedges is saying. Okay, look, Hedges and Chomsky, they're only right in a sense because the larger message, the larger thing that that the people who associate with Antifa or who might use the black bloc tactic are trying to impart, the message they're trying to get across isn't getting across.
All right, can I jump in here, please?
Yes, please do.
This is Pinko. So, want to let everybody know that we found Workers' World Party found out about this white unity rally that was coming up in Charlottesville, and so we mobilized members from about 6 different branches to be there. And when we had the report backs, obviously I couldn't go because of the heart attack situation and blah, blah, blah. But we had the report backs at the Solidarity Center just a week ago, and the videos are available at the website. But for the people who were on the ground, and it wasn't just for our people, it was the Anarchist Collective from New York City that blocked up with us, and it was People's Power Assembly, and there was one other group that all gave reports. And uniformly, one thing that everyone agreed on is that the Nazis were so overwhelmed, they were so morally defeated, sad, crying, fucked up, like couldn't believe that their wonderful unity march got so, they got devastated, and then throughout the day, after the thing had been called off, after the police, and the mayor, whoever made the call, said, hey, this is an unlawful gathering. Sorry, no more permit, no more unity rally, a white racist unity rally. The small bands or even individuals from that group were being found all over town. They were getting their ass kicked here. They were getting harassed and run out of town because they were confronted. Okay, and it's really, really important, in my view, to confront these fuckers and let them know that we're not going to tolerate it, because if we tolerate just one, then they're going to be emboldened and they're going to come out stronger and stronger. But I just want everyone to know that the report backs that I got from witnesses that were on the ground in Charlottesville, all of them gave the same characterization of the way that these Nazis were emotionally and physically beaten down, even though the cops early on were allowing them to attack us. And if people would like to see those report backs, I'll just give a plug for, just go to YouTube, search Workers' World Party, or go workers.org, scroll down to the bottom to the video section. They're also on my personal wall. I feel very strongly about this movement, and very happy about comrades who went down. And John, you and your fight as well, and Aaron, you and what you're doing out on the West Coast. Bless you both.
It's all one thing. If I could, I was in Charlottesville, and a couple weeks before I'd been at the American Renaissance Conference again for the 4th year, and there I was attacked by a man. I don't want to go through the story right now. I have court actually about that case, but I defended myself.
Right.
If you'd like to know about it, I mean, it's all over the internet.
Helicopter John.
Yeah. And then of course David Duke puts my picture on his Twitter. And then we get down to Charlottesville, and I've come down. We come down, and RevCom is hanging out. We go talk to RevCom for a little bit. We start walking down. We start walking down to the Methodist Church from Emancipation Park. We get down there. There's some other members of RevCom down there. So the RevCom members all start. I'm live streaming. The RevCom members are all, megaphoning and stuff, and doing their thing. And then a group of, I think it was Identity Europa and Vanguard America. Like, I think there was like a mixed group.
Right.
They started coming down the street. They're all fascist, like, and a section of them cuts off and goes around the down to the side of the church, and this freaks us out. You know, I was doing security for churches. Like I'd been given body armor ahead of time because I've been getting dressed for cowboys and all kinds of stuff but before American Renaissance, actually. Daryl Lamont Jenkins had asked me to speak on behalf of Antifa, and I never would have thought to do that, but when Daryl asked me to do something like that, Daryl Lamont Jenkins, come on. And so, like, so they had known about me. I was doing work at Disney Actions. I was getting guys' tattoos removed. I've been trying to do love stuff, and they've been following me. And so they knew who I was before that. And then when David Duke put me on Twitter, anyway, so we go to make a line. We go to hold a line. And we hold that line with RevCom because we don't want these guys to come back to the church, right? But we don't have a lot of people. We have 2 lines, you know. They have about 6 lines deep. They have shields up front. They're chanting, "You will not replace us." And this morphs into "Jews will not replace us." And then a helicopter comes over. I mean, I just swear, from the live, you can watch the live stream. A helicopter comes over. And they start chanting, "You can't run. You can't hide. You get helicopterized," or some shit. And, of course, I'm kind of like looking at my camera, like raised eyebrows, like, Anyway, so,
hey, John, can I ask you a quick question? Can I ask you a real quick? Is this the same church where Cornel West was in and was trapped in, where is now?
No.
No. Okay.
This is so I did do security for that church as well. There were 3 churches that I went to during the week and did security for. I was doing the Methodist Church, the church that Cornel West spoke at, and then also there was a 3rd church. I believe it was Brother Seth's, but Reverend Sekou was amazing there, by the way. But so to go back to they were about to charge us. I have live stream video. You can watch them off feed. They're about to come at. They're like getting ready. There's one of their fascist guys like walking back and forth, you know, sweating and stuff and talking to them. And so then they all start to like line up towards the side, and they start pushing towards the shields, right? Like they're going to walk past us, like, you know, and they're able to like get between the wall and us. And they start pushing past. And then one of them looks at me and says, "I know who you are," and grabs me by the shirt. Now, I'm on bond, so I got a bigger militia to deal with than this, like, blonde kid here, right? And so he comes and, like, hits me in the face, but it wasn't a very good punch. And so I kind of just, like, look at him. And then 3 of them come and, like, push me down. I'm able to carry separation a little bit. I walk over to the church area to be able to get a better sight so I can see where my partner was. And at that point, there's, like, several of them surrounding me. And I'm able to block a couple of their shots, you know. But eventually I realized I was surrounded. So I, like, took my head, bent down, covered myself up a little bit, you know. I swear to God, they punched at my metal body armor. I mean, they punched at it. And, like, I'm sure it hurt their hands. But I got a couple stuff like that, nothing too bad. Got back up. They were saying like anti-Semitic things to me. They were saying all kinds of stuff. You know, it was a pretty horrible situation. When I look over, though, I see past the police barricade, and there's my partner, and her head is just bleeding, cut up. And so I go and I like run towards the barricade, and I look for the cop with the most compassionate eyes, you know, and I say, "Can I come over? That's my girlfriend," you know. I jump over the line, and you can look at the dailymail.co.uk. There's a cop, literally, putting their hands on my throat, my partner right behind them, bleeding. And I'm like, "No violence is obedience. I do not fight back. I do not fight back." You know, I hugged Cornel West. You actually can't do violence for 24 hours after you've hugged Cornel West. It's impossible. But anyway, so we're able to get my girlfriend to a place where she was able to get some head wraps, and then some people from Black Lives Matter, some allies of Black Lives Matter, came and helped us get a ride along with RevCom to the hospital. A couple members of RevCom to the hospital, and so from there we're in the hospital, and that's when we hear about the murder, and the 30 people are potentially coming in, and I took like I kind of rushed out to be able to go see her because they wanted to check me out too, you know, but. So we were there together when that happened. She was getting plastic surgery, and essentially that's, you know, that was a very traumatic experience for both of us. And but you know, we kind of both agreed that this is how people of color feel every day. They feel scared to go out. They feel scared to be able to walk on the street. They feel scared to, if they see somebody, if they hear something down the hall, like whenever I was in Charlottesville, if I heard something down the hall and like a person of color walked out, I'd be like, thank God. And if a bunch of European, like polo shirt people walked out, I'd be like, oh shit, what's going on? I mean, like, and that's like, I feel like people probably feel like that every single day. They don't know who's a white supremacist, who isn't, unless they're like super progressive looking or something, And even then, you don't know. I mean, like, and so like, it seems, it was that's, but if we're too scared to come back out, then they win.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, I know we're kind of probably getting short on time, but what I kind of want to do to kind of expound a little bit on what John was saying was, kind of give a brief report back from what went down in San Francisco and Berkeley this last weekend, because this is all aftermath of what you experienced in Charlottesville, right? So obviously, when all of this went down, the nation that was kind of confused and wondering, all right, who are these alt-right people? Are they really just free speech Trump supporter, silly-looking guys, or are they really, hardcore Nazi fascists? And I think that for the most part, the country woke up and went, they're a bunch of hardcore Nazi fascists, right? But they still haven't woken up to the narrative about the opposition to that, because they've been fed all this misinformation about what Antifa is. Even in light of Charlottesville, all the lives that were saved by people who relate to being Antifa in Charlottesville. So then what happens, all over the country, what was it, Boston, where there was just thousands of people surrounding them in a pagoda, right? And then in Berkeley, what happens is San Francisco is a flop. Patriot Prayer plans their thing. They come out. There's so many, labor unions, we got the longshoremen and the IWW and the RCP and the Workers' World Party, just in the thousands, come out in San Francisco. Patriot Prayer cancels their thing. But Berkeley the next day is a different story. And so the cops come out in force. They stop everyone from coming in the park, and you got to be searched for sticks and backpacks and make sure there's no weapons. There is a handful of Nazis and fascists in MLK Park, which is, if anybody, listeners don't know, it's the same site of the now infamous brawl on April 15th. It's MLK Park in Berkeley. Okay, and so it's definitely outnumbered by leftist and Berkeley residents to the Nazis and fascists that are in the park. And there's a lot of dialogue going on, actually. And there's video, if I might be so bold as to plug a video on our show. I had a very long talk with Johnny Benitez, who's a Proud Boy. And that's up on our channel, Punks for Progress. I suggest people take a look at it, because at another point, here's where it comes down to the divisions on the left, misunderstandings about Antifa and all this kind of stuff. I'm getting yelled at because I'm having a dialogue with this other idiot fascist, and I'm being yelled at by 50 different pink hats that you don't talk to them, it's no platform, no platform. Okay? These same people that were talking about, Milo's okay, are now yelling at me that they don't get a platform. So now I'm yelling at pink hats who are chanting Black Lives Matter. Okay? I love pink hats. I love Black Lives Matter. And I got to tell these people to shut the F up, because I'm trying to have a conversation. We're talking about diversity of tactics, right? But ultimately what had happened was they were massively outnumbered this time, because the rest of the Bay Area community got behind what Antifa was trying to do prior. When it was just the Black Bloc and Antifa against the alt-right, it was a 6-hour brawl on April 15th. When the rest of the community came out and woke up to what Antifa and Black Bloc had been trying to tell them and realized, yes, these are a bunch of dangerous Nazi fascist terrorists, and came out in droves, it got shut down. And about 5 or 6 fascists got their heads thumped in. And every single news media outlet showed only those instances. What I experienced on Saturday and Sunday was nothing short of a massive showing of solidarity, love, and unity. The Bay Area came together. It was so wonderful and warm, with the exception of these handfuls of fascists that came in to try and stake a claim in a town that most of them aren't even from.
Exactly.
Okay? But all you're going to see on the news and all you're going to see on your outlets is the small moments of violence. And I think what's going on with Hedges and Chomsky, Hedges, you know, he's a on the ground, you know, Sarajevo, he's been at every revolution guy, but not anymore. He sits at a desk on uncontacted RT. He hasn't had Antifa marching next to him and saved his ass. So he just doesn't have that connection to it. He has the same media feeding him nothing but the violence from Berkeley and none of the 48 hours of love solidarity. And I
would also say that just because he was a war correspondent for 19 years in the New York Times doesn't mean that he has the right line on politics. All that means is he worked for the #1 propaganda outlet of the U.S. empire, the New York Times. Okay, that's what he did, and yes, he got fired for actually, you know, questioning the government's evidence in the run-up to the Iraq War. So I'm happy for that because, you know, it forced him to be a little more honest, and you know, now he's written these books, and I've seen him at Left Forum and Socialism Conference, and you know, but he's still not really a socialist. He's not a real anti-capitalist, anti-imperialist. He's a left liberal. He's DSA. You know, he's just, and so I think this is where he influences some of those white people who could step up and make a difference, but he influences them in the wrong way. He's basically making this moral equivalence that antifreeze and freeze are the same fucking thing. You know, I mean, it's just, he's like, there's so many useless white people who are basically just tourists in this world who never make a decision to do something righteous and proper and get on the fucking right side of history, be an abolitionist, be somebody who's against racism and sexism and homophobia and you know, just go right down the line. But these useless white people who are just going through their lives doing nothing, and then they look up and they see Chris Hedges and others talking shit about shit they don't know about and influencing them to do nothing, and I fucking hate it.
Yep. Chris Hedges gives them the excuse to say, okay, I actually don't have to look into it more and learn more about it.
Right.
I can just accept that it's bad, and it's the same as the Alt Right.
Right. He basically took the same line as Donald Trump. This is Chris Driscoll, the co-host of Carson's Corner, and I'd just like to ask you guys if we could take a little bit of a high-resolution view on this thing and start talking tactics, strategies, how to build the movement, because I think all of us here agree that building the anti-fascist movement is an important component, not the only component, but an important component of building the movement today. So I'm wondering what you guys think in terms of from here on out. What kind of tactics and strategy, what kind of principles do we need to start putting forward to build this movement into something that can effectively chase the cockroaches back under their slimy rocks?
It's a good question. I'll take that.
Yeah, I'd like to hear John on that one.
Yeah, John, bring it on. Go ahead.
All right, can y'all hear me?
I'm hearing.
Yeah, there's a little echo, John.
Is that better?
A little echo on your line, that's all. Yeah, that's perfect. Yep.
All right, cool. I mean, I think that there's groups like Redneck Revolt. They're doing a little bit more, like as far as like you know, helping us do security for the events, things like that. I mean, I think that honestly, we need to build autonomous communities capable of defense. I mean, we need to be able to have networks, sustainable groups that are able to defend certain areas from these kind of deportation raids that are going to start happening. I mean, we really need a community defense network. We need to be building those kind of things. We need to be having trainings. We need to be having, we need to be looking at tactics from how the anti-fascist movement in Italy and Germany were able to rise up. We need to be looking at how EZLN and Rojava and these kind of areas were able to do what they're doing, and Rojava fighting fascists and EZLN and keeping the state out. The entire earlier someone mentioned Black Bloc, and I think that the thing that Black Bloc does. Well, I would say this: we do need for fighting ecocide. We need a lot of things, right? But I would say that different tactics for different times. If you're trying to get liberals out of a kettle, then maybe setting a dumpster on fire or hitting a window, might cause the cops to go somewhere else. I mean, you know what I'm saying? But that's. But if you're trying to cause economic sabotage, if you're trying to actually do economic damage, then that's not going to be the number one way. What you need to do is start filing lawsuits. We need to start filing lawsuits, a bunch. We need docs, lawsuits, every single means we have in the system to get that Nazi money, get that, and to be able to fund our movements, to be able to fund our defense, and to be able to make sure that we have everything we need to be able to make sure that nothing like Charlottesville happens again. I'm really glad that people are coming out, but I don't think the next step is probably going to be at rallies. What the Alt Right's probably doing is realizing that a lot of the rallies are getting shut down. So they're probably figuring out something else. And that probably means working with paramilitary organizations. That probably means doing stuff like what Identity Europa did, and like have a boat out there getting refugees and stuff. And that means we need boats, and that means we need to be able to watch their tactics and match them. That's what we need. Now, the question is, where are we going to get that money? They got Freiburg money. They got that this mining executive from Sweden or Finland or whatever. And he, and of course he has to justify his stuff, because how else do we sleep at night? So billionaire calls himself the Bill Gates of the Alt Right. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, we have to realize that they are funded, they are well funded, and it doesn't. But Chomsky's friends the Vietnamese army, they were able to stop something that happened in a way that was with small numbers, but they knew the terrain. Now, I don't think that it's going to be obviously that's not a similar situation, but the thing is, what I'm saying is that for Antifa to become something other than simply what people think as like a group of people who just goes out and punches people, which we don't. We go out and feed people. We go out and do all kinds of things. We go out and sit with people. We talk to people. We do a lot of things. We're known for our street battles right now, but I mean, we need to build something that has the potential to actually be able to defend our communities.
Yeah, and I think I would only add to that. I mean, everything that John just described is totally legit, and I just want to second in a big way, because all of that stuff is real, and those are all things that need to be addressed. But I think for some people, they hear we need lots of money, and it's this ominous, massive global fascism that we're fighting against, and it can be really overwhelming. So I think one of the things that John alluded to that is really important is that it's about just organizing. I got a real bad echo from someone now, but it's about organizing yourself. There we go. It's about organizing yourself and knowing your strengths. Again, I talked about this when we first opened, was that it's about what do you know most about? What are you strongest on? What are you most passionate about? Learn everything you can about it, and find the next person who is that way with you, and then make your difference that way. And it's grassroots, ground up, horizontal organizing. It's not, don't try to go at Donald Trump and the military-industrial complex. I can't beat Donald Trump and the military-industrial complex. But if I see, if you see, a neighborhood in your community that needs cleaning up, or they're going to run a bunch of these houseless people out of this area, well, go fucking clean it. You can take action right now. If you see an opportunity to action, and you ask yourself, why isn't someone fixing this or doing something about it? The question should be, why aren't you?
Well,
but you have to know what your strengths are.
A wise man once said, and Pinko, I think you know who this guy is, pitch in where you fit in.
Oh, well, that's funny. I was just gonna try to get in on this as myself. We do utilize, pick whatever your interest is, whether it's Black Lives Matter, fighting gentrification, peace activism, pushing back on Nazis. I mean, there are a million different places for people to get active, to get involved, and you pitch in where you fit in, and each one teach one, right? But on top of that, here's something that I think is probably something I did not know a few years ago, but I think I have a pretty good understanding of it now. I think it's very important to actually belong to an organization or a party where you're responsible for each other and to each other, where you have a real sense of camaraderie and a sense of family, and I think the collective knowledge, the institutional wisdom and knowledge of different organizations and groups is very, very important in a person's development along these lines. And of course, I looked at a lot of them when I moved to New York, and I ended up very comfortable and very happy with Workers' World Party, and for all those reasons I just mentioned. Now, someone else may find it more comfortable somewhere else, and they may only stay a few years and move on. It doesn't matter. It's not like, look, you do what you can with what you got. And I just think there's a real important component by being a member of a party or organization where there's some real responsibilities to each other.
It does two things, Dave, if I might. One, it gets you out of the house. It gives you something, okay, I have a meeting on Monday. Now I'm actually leaving instead of just, clacking away on my keyboard, and I'm going to go meet people. And then the other thing it does, the things that have been, the ideas that have been rattling around in your head with what you read this week, or the articles, or the book you just, whatever, well, you bounce it off of like-minded people who are also, guess what, motivated. They also got up off the couch and went to the meeting. So you have two things in common now. And now you can explore your differences, and you can critique each other's ideas. And I would just want to completely second, again, what Bear said, and only maybe expound on it in this sense, that you have options even when it comes to joining. You don't necessarily have to join. I'm a member of the IWW, and that's where I want to be, and that's where I'm comfortable. Bear's a member of the WWP. But you can start your own group, too. And those two things that I feel were important, you'll still have those elements with your group, because when you do start a group, you're most likely going to start it with the people you kind of trust most. So now you have a trusting group of allies that you can bounce ideas off of, and maybe even come up with one frickin' solution to something, and that's how we do it. You just do it one step at a time in your community yourself, by putting one foot in front of the other. And then here's the other thing, and I think this is why we're so upset with Hedges and Chomsky, is because it's okay to be critical of other groups and what they're doing, because it's going to be hard. You always want people to be a part of your cause too, right? So we're critical of each other and our devotions to things. But you kind of need to shut the hell up unless you're really an expert on that thing. And I don't think by any means that Noam Chomsky or Chris Hedges, as experts as they are on so many things, are by any means experts on Antifa or Black Bloc. And so they need to kind of cool it with their critiquing and save it for the people who have actually stood with them. People like John need to be a much stronger voice for what Antifa is. And can we hear about what they're doing in Houston right now? Can we hear about how they've died in Syria? Because we don't talk about that. We talk about they punched a dude in Berkeley. They broke Bank of America's window.
Yep. Oh, that's a very good point. That's all part of the elimination of opposition there. John, go ahead.
Yeah, I definitely want to mirror what everybody said about joining organizations. I mean, I think that when one of the things I always say about how to convert liberals into radicals is to get them involved in, liberal social justice, progressive social justice organizing. They'll realize how ineffective it is over a period of time, And but I think that the way that we, and I think that there's a lot of really amazing radical groups. About Face, the Veterans Against War, formerly known as Iraq Veterans Against War, amazing group doing freaking phenomenal things. And we're talking about ending the military-industrial complex, which we can't do as individuals, and which we can't do as, but veterans have, 1% of the population. You got like, you can go up to anybody. If you're a veteran, people are going to give you the time of day a lot more than anybody else. So there's powerful movements. I went to a conference this weekend with About Face, and I really have never felt so much revolutionary potential in one place at once. World-changing potential, not necessarily revolutionary per se, but world-changing potential, and the thing is that there's a lot of awesome groups like that. There's a lot of amazing groups. Redneck Revolt's having a conference. Right. There's all kinds of conferences and things you can get involved in, and things that you can really sink your teeth into and feel like you're moving, and feel like you're getting stuff accomplished, and feel like they're actually moving towards things and building camaraderie and building community and building defense. There are things out there, and if you're feeling like you're left out when you go to liberal meetings, when you go to progressive meetings, you feel like they're not saying what you want, and they feel like you are still being told what to do, then check out, see if you can find your local Antifa group, see if you can find your local Redneck Revolt or Socialist Gun Club or Workers' World Party or whatever lefty organization you can join that's actually communist, anarchist, and even Libertarian Socialist Congress, DSA. You got that. There's plenty of things to join if you're a radical who is tired of the status quo and tired of people thinking that even if Bernie would have won, he would have changed things in a way that was actually, it's we can do this. We can do this. We just gotta get together.
We can do this. Yeah, we can do this.
They don't call it the struggle for no reason, but
that's right.
So get involved, man. Get in there, and I really appreciate the fact that I really thank you for having us on. I know I'm looking at the time, but I'm not trying to call it here, but I'm gonna shut up now. But I love y'all, and I appreciate everybody doing what they're doing. So that's what I got to say.
Well, on behalf of myself and my co-host, you guys are welcome anytime. This is your show, as far as I'm concerned, and it's important for us radicals to stick together in a sea of a corrupt capitalist media landscape that is dead set on preserving the status quo. And so, and that was going to be sort of my next question: is would you guys recommend workers and people like us listen to or absorb the media or the work of Chris Hedges and Noam Chomsky? And if not, where can people go to get their media? Where do you guys go to stay informed and to stay motivated?
Well, I can rattle off a few things. It's going to be hard to find real in-depth analysis. I am a big fan of pretty much anything that has Crime Think connected to it. Any podcast that the Crime Think ex-workers collective is always going to be really informative. I wouldn't say you need to turn off completely Chris Hedges and Noam Chomsky, but hey, we're radical leftists. Right. We need to be very critical of who we ingest and what they're saying. It is not frickin' gospel. It's okay to listen to them, but be critical and be skeptical of what you're reading, and ask yourself, do I agree with this or not? And if you don't, it's okay. Ask one of your lefty friends, see what they think. It looks like the mass of the leftist community has decided that Hedges and Chomsky are wrong on this one. I hope, at least the far left.
Yeah, one thing this discussion over the last week or so has done is it's really showed me who my liberal friends who were pretending to be radicals are. It really separates that kind of social democrat or democratic socialist from the.
I agree with that. I also just wanted to rattle off a couple more good lefty sources for information, but I think everyone knows Unicorn Riot Rules. Right. That is a great source for kind of on the street, real reporting action. And then, of course, it's going down is very anarchist, and they really, really, really love covering what Antifa does. So you'll get a lot of information from it's going down.
Unless you're marching with Refuse Fascism.
Yeah, unless you're marching with RCP, then they're not quite as interested in what
then they won't run your
you're selling.
Sorry,
I wouldn't know, Bear. I wouldn't know. But and then I think Submedia TV or submedia.org is another really great source. Yeah. So
you just named all mine, man.
Yeah. So because I used to identify solely as an anarchist instead of a socialist or a communist, I love those outlets as well, but for real analysis, because I'm a Marxist-Leninist now, I look at the way I see things now is a lot different. I just honestly, it's just an evolution. And when I want to know about what's really happening or what the history here or there was, I'm looking at the Workers' World paper, and I just think it's a great resource. I really do. And I know many of the people who are on the editorial staff and the writers. I know these people, and I know the history of some of these people that have been in the party and been in the struggle for 50 years. Sarah Flounders just turned 70 years old, and she's been 50 years in the struggle. Workers, I can't stress enough how happy I am with the analysis and the comrades at Workers' World. And by the way, just one other plug. It was Workers' World members who pulled down that fucking statue. And if you would like to make a donation, I can get you a link because there's going to be some lawyers' fees, and about 12 people now have been arrested. FBI's visited some people's homes. It's no joke. So anyway,
the Durham statue. The Durham statue.
Yeah.
Right, Abear? The statue in Durham.
Yeah.
So
anyway,
yeah, I would.
Black Agenda. The other one. My other absolute favorite is blackagendareport.com. Bruce Dixon, Glenn Ford, Margaret Kimberly, Danny Haifong, and I don't know, Jared. I don't know if Jared is still writing for them. But I love Black Agenda, and I love Workers' World, in addition to the other ones you guys mentioned.
So I guess I'll shout out. I'd like to shout out the Fifth Column. They are a great journalist publication. I work for them, so that's conflict of interest. But and then also I really like Idavox, which is a great place to go if you're looking for stuff to stop doxing. It's Darryl Lamont Jenkins' website, Idavox. You can also find One People's Project, another great group that does a lot of work with exposing hate groups. As far as I guess everybody named a lot of the ones I would name. I'm not sure where I stand right now. I used to be an anarcho-syndicalist. I'm starting to like communism a lot too. I'm just kind of confused where I am right now. I'm kind of in the middle of it. I learned a lot about the Syrian military that I didn't know this weekend, and it kind of like blew my mind as far as like the way that the YPG has been kind of like prompted up, but they have a lot of Western backing, and yet Syrian militia was really, really good against ISIS as well. So I'm kind of, anyway, but I would say that I would like to give actually, if I can, just some like really good, like Ryan Harvey.
1 minute left.
So yeah, I was just going to give some really good, Ryan Harvey, David Rovick's Soul. Check out those artists, and that's all I'm going to say. Thank you very much.
David Rovick, yeah. I'm a better anarchist than you. I love that song.
I really want to thank you. This is Aaron. I just really want to thank you guys for having us on and giving me this opportunity to come up here and run my mouth a little bit. So I know you're running out of time, but thanks, guys. This has been really awesome.
No, thank you.
And I would really like to do it again.
Yeah. Well, thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you. And want to tell everybody to make sure to join our group on Facebook, the Election Boycott Advocates. Join the Election Boycott Advocates on Facebook, and make sure to visit our website at electionboycott.weebly.com. That is electionboycott.weebly.com. And if you like this show, listen to it every Monday from 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. right here on Blog Talk.
Yes.
Listen, Aaron, John, Chris, Pinko, thank you. I love you guys. And we'll fight this fight going forward, my friends. Take care and best of luck.
Yes, love you too. Bye-bye.
All righty. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Thank you.